Hello and welcome back to the Fancy Cricket Coach. Today we've got the Game Week 2 review and we're looking forward to some of my Game Week 3 transfers. So I've got some highlights, I've got how my team did this week and my future plans going forward. So overall, I'm pretty happy with this week. It was a small red arrow, but I was kind of holding my seed. Stay in that top 3%. I think consistency here is good. And if we don't get too many big red arrows, then by game week 14 we should be looking good. Sort of stay around this level, and then have that late season charge towards the top of the ranking. So I'm pretty happy with that, and we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that goes forward. So some of the highlights of this week, we have John Simpson, an amazing player, an amazing week for him. He got 372 points. He had a really good game week in game week 1-2. I think it's a fantastic option. And when he's in form, he is scoring runs. He's a really, really good option. So I definitely look to him. I think the overall highlight of this week, though, has to go to Calvin Harrison. 532 points. He got 11 wickets. The situation for him was just perfect. It was a good surface to bowl on. It was a good game situation for him against Lancashire. And I think he did superbly. And if you had him in your team, I mean, that was a hell of a game for you. But he didn't play in game week 1. And so I'm not against bringing him in. I think he's a good option, but I also wouldn't fully back him. I mean, there's a chance he doesn't play next week or the week after. Or, you'd always be checking that team sheet to see if he's on it. I think if Northants decide against spin and they just decide to go with Safe Sabe, then he might not make the team. So it could be an interesting punt. It could be something to pay off, but also maybe there's a bit of risk there. So you might want to maybe wait for those 11s to come out on Friday to sort of see if you want to bring him in. Finally, Don Sibley, 317 points. He's a class county cricketer. Will he do it every week? I'm not sure. I think with the Surrey side, it's so hard to tell who's going to score runs for them each week. Sibley's a really good player, and he consistently scores runs every season, and he does well. So I'm not bad to bring in. I think he's a good option, but I wouldn't fully back him. It's hard to say whether he's going to do it week to week. He might have weeks like this, and he might have weeks where he gets 2 ducks. Who knows? I think it's tough to say. But a great week from him, and if you had him again, really, really nice points there. Okay, so moving on to my own team. I was pretty happy with this team overall. I think I was really helped by a few players, and I had some big letdowns this week. So we'll go through and we'll see how it goes. So opening up with Yates, 77 points. He bowled in both innings, which I was pretty happy with. He got 45 runs and a wicket, so not a firing week from him, but not a complete blank. And 77 points is acceptable. It's not if every player gets 77, it's not really good, but at least it's not 5. He could go a lot worse, and I think I'm very happy with him because he's pretty much an all-rounder playing, and in the game he's a batter. So he's definitely got value there, and I don't think I want to get rid of him anytime soon. Moving on, Keaton Jennings, 176 points. Frustrating avoiding the 3 figures and avoiding the bonus in both innings with 96 runs in the first and 49 in the second. So missing out on a lot of points there. If he'd scored 5 more runs, then he could have been on a fair few more points. But, I'm happy with him, and I thought he'd kick on as he did last week. He started really solidly. He scored runs in most of his innings, and hopefully he can just get that 3 figures next week and really, really sort of cement his good start to the season. Okay, so Kieran Carlson, 87 points. I think he's probably one of the biggest disappointments this week. Gloucestershire batted for 138 overs, and yet he still didn't bowl. So, he scored 22 and then 49 in the second innings. But I think I might transfer him out. He blanks in game week 4-2, and I really, as we'll get to, I really need some game week 4 players. So I might keep him for one more week. I might not. We'll get to that on my transfer plans later on. But it's disappointing that he hasn't bowled. I really thought he would, and he's not really fired with the bat. He only scored a century last week, but we'll see if that consistency is there. So next, Joey Everson, 50 points, 1 wicket, which was my captain Higgins. So that's not even massive, and 4 runs. I mean, overall, pretty poor. I think he's a transfer out. I thought he was in really good form because he had a really good preseason, but he's not really kicked on, and he's not really transferred that into in the season returns. So I think he's a transfer out. It might be to an enabler, so I can move somewhere else. He also blanks in game week 4, and so I need players for game week 4. So that's a pretty easy decision to remove. So we'll see who I go to for him. But I think it's transfer out. Next up is Ed Barnard. Got 226 points. Fantastic from him. My highest score of the season. He got 22 overs with no wicket in the first and one wicket, but the run rate punishment in the second. However, he scored 101 in his second innings. It was a massive second innings. He has really good game involvement and he's a good player, so I'm definitely holding him. He's not going anywhere. I was super happy with that century on day 4. It really helped me keep my rank, so I was very happy with him, and he smashed it. Moving on, got Ryan Higgins. I captained him. He only got 127 points. Again, 14 and 15 with the bat, 3 wickets. It's pretty a slow start, but he's still got 127 points, and that's what I'm talking about with Ryan Higgins. He's got a high floor. He's not. Even if he doesn't do well in this kind of week, he still provides points, and he still is going to pick up over 100 points almost every single week. So that's why he's a good captain option. So I'm definitely not going to transfer him out, but I might not captain him next week. He doesn't seem to be in crazy form at the moment. I could also move him to Dawson, who is also looking fairly good, but that's a bit of a tough one. I think I want to keep Ryan Higgins around. He's just such a good option, but we'll sort of see how that goes, and maybe my budget might mean he could be moved out. Ian Holland, he was my transfer in this week, and I was very happy with that. It was a very good transfer. He got 74 runs in the first, 5 in the second, bang at 3. Even they had Rian Armand at the top, so it's a very experimental team. But I was, batting at 3 is almost better actually, and he's opening the bowling too, so very good. And he got 2 wickets, and I'm more than happy with him. He's got a fixture in game week 4, so I'm definitely holding him for that. And I can't really complain if you transfer someone in and they pick up 187 points. So overall, pretty happy, pretty good stuff with Ian Holland. Okay, here we go. Bracey, probably another big disappointment for me. He got 24 runs and 4 catches. A really slow start from him. And it's frustrating to see a lot of keepers, Carverena, James Rue, John Simpson, doing really well in this early season. And Bracey is the one with the slow start, and he just happens to be the one I picked. I thought about transferring him out last week to Carverena. If you watched my video, I was talking about moving him to Carverena, who actually got a century in this game week, and I ended up not doing that transfer. So, that's just sometimes the way it goes. So I'll definitely look at the Bracey to Verena move again, but he does have a game week 4 fixture, Bracey, and I need players for game week 4, as I keep saying. So I might not be able to afford bringing him out for a little while. So hopefully he can turn around his form a bit, but really not an amazing week from him. Ben Code, 31 runs, 5 wickets, much, much better. More what I was expecting, but still I think he's got more to go. It's probably the bowler on the chopping block for now, which is harsh, but I think Cook and O'Neill have just done super well. But I think I'm going to keep him. He's a little expensive, so maybe if I need a budget, I can move on, but I'm pretty happy with Code. 180 points, very good week. Cook, 216 points. He got 4 wickets, 1 wicket, 26 runs. Very similar to Code, much better. I don't think it's his full potential, but much, much better. And I think, he got over 200 points, which is more than, good. But he's a little expensive, so he does need to keep on returning. He needs to keep on ticking over with 200 points or somewhat averaging around there per week. But I'm pretty happy with him. I can't argue for more than 216 points. So pretty good week from him. And he'll stick around, I think, for a bit. Fergus O'Neill, 133 points, got 42 runs and 3 wickets. I was pretty happy with him. He got, still some differential points. He's less than 10% owned. So definitely going to keep him for a couple of more game weeks. I think he started the season super well, and I think in every given week he looks like he can take a fifer. He's just bowling super well, so no need to move on from him. As far as my bench goes, no massive points. I think I picked the right 11. I'm really happy with that. I got 14 out of 15 green discs, so I'm really happy with my bench. But I think I'm gonna have to move around a lot of my bench players to manage the blanks. I'm gonna really need to try and find playing cheap players I can bring in, so I can bench some of my players in game week 4. So that will come in my transfer plans. So we'll see how that goes. But I think overall, I'm pretty happy. Okay, so my transfer plans for game week 3. These are the people I'm looking to bring in. So essentially, between game week 4, 5, and 6, each team blank once. Game week 4 is the biggest blank, the most teams blank there. So I think trying to get 11 players out then is really difficult. The game gives us extra transfers for those weeks. So it's a little easier to manage, but still, I I've done some planning ahead. I'll put I'll have a look at this graphic I made for the blanks and which teams blank and which week. It should be pretty useful to hopefully plan your teams and plan your transfers. So I will be targeting getting 11 players out in game week 4, and then the same with game week 5 and 6. I'll explain this more in a video later this week when I do my transfer plans and my team selection. I think some players I'm looking at, obviously Carl Verena, century in the first game back for Notts. He scored 359 runs in 5 innings and only been out once after that first innings. So I think he's a really good option. He clearly loves county cricket. He's clearly a very good player. So I think I'd really like to bring him in. This one's a little awkward after saying that Rue might have a bit of an off year. He's really hit the ground running. He's got 250 runs so far. He's a little expensive, but I think he's in really good form. So I think he's a good pickup, and I think I might want to move to Rue this week. Another wicketkeeper actually, John Simpson, very good across the 2 weeks. As I spoke about him earlier, he's in fine form, and therefore he's a great pick as a county legend. All batters, all wicket keepers, but form is form, and that's where the form is at the moment. And I think that's where I'm going to want to move to this week. I've got some tinkering and some moving around to do. I'm going to see if I can get these players in my team. I think I'll be making 3, maybe even 4 transfers this week, really looking to plan and move ahead. And I'll explain that all later this week. But thank you very much for watching. This has been Game Week review and my transfer plans. I hope you guys all had a good game week, and I will see you later in the week. Thank you very much.